Okay, so when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, I admit when I'm wrong, and I was very wrong. Alien eyeball octopus creature is not a good guy. Oh my god. And we find out in this episode why not. So this is my review of episode 6 of Alien Earth. This is what episode's called The Fly. And my god, is it The Fly. Um it's a good episode. It's like it's I still feel like we're building to like a chaotic climax in this thing. So we've got lots of different things going on in this episode. So let's go on to pregnant redhead cyborg. What is it, synth? Hybrid synth thing. She thought she was pregnant last week because she's going through all this trauma. So they decide to sort of look at her and evaluate her. As they're doing that, Ade Edmondson's character's in there with them, and he says, "Right, okay." So obviously it's the trauma that's caused. It's nothing like technological. It's the trauma that's causing this. So what I want you to do is wipe her brain, go back to before the trauma started. Even though I personally think the trauma was her going into that body, but they're saying it's the trauma of her going to the crash site, seeing all the stuff there, the eyeball thing attacking all. That's the trauma that's built up in her. I think it's the actual just seeing her own lifeless body on a table. But so they're going to wipe her brain back to before they went to the crash in the ship to sort of reset her basically and alter her moods a little bit. And the two scientists, the husband and wife team, which we only found out last week really, the husband and wife, are kind of like against it at first. And he definitely, he says, no, we're not doing that. That's altering like her reality, her perception, altering her state. We shouldn't be doing that. Yet the wife says, I will do it. Like, it's my job, I'll do it. With that, Ade Edmondson, he's the bald guy, if you're wondering. Cavalier's sort of like right hand man almost. He then says, well, you're fired because you're not doing what I've told you to do. The company's asked you to do something, you're not doing it, you're fired. And leave, if you're not gone before the end of the day, you'll be trespassing and we'll shoot you. And it's like, whoa. So he's upset because he was kind of one that cared about these hybrid synthetics. He cared about the fact they were kids, that sort of thing with him. So he's very upset, and obviously he's got to leave, he's got to work. So that's that done. So obviously then a little bit later on we see red-headed synth wake up, and she has no memory past then, and she's talking to Wendy, and Wendy's like, "Well, how are you? Because you thought you were pregnant." And she's like, "I've no idea what you're talking about." Like, and then she sort of panics, like, "Have they taken my memories away? What have they done?" Wendy is as worried because she's like, "That's not on." So she goes off and speaks to the doctor later and finds the wife doctor and says to her she's not happy with it. She doesn't agree with what they've done. So there's tension now building with Wendy. Wendy ain't as subservient as I think they would have wanted her to be. There's definitely some sort of tension there now, and I like that there's tension. It's building something more. So we've got that going on. We've also got our the Wayland Company have a meeting with Boy Cavalier on like neutral ground by the looks of it, and an representative from the Five, which is like the five main companies that own the world and run the world, of like as like come to sort of mediate this sort of thing. And the discussion is sort of like, well, we want the Wayland Company, like we want the ship back. He's like, well, you've caused a lot of trouble on this, like you've smashed through my city, you've killed thousands of and injured thousands of people, and if I move the ship, the building's going to come down and do more damage. So like, what are you going to do? So she offers to pay a lot more money, like in the billions, more money, like 20 billion. They sort of settled to in the end. He's like, okay, but you can't have it back until the end of the quarantine, because he kind of outs the fact that there's these like alien species on there. So the Five are kind of a bit like interested in that as well, because it's breaking some of their laws. So then she's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I still want it all back. So she offered the money, and then he says she can have it in six months after quarantine, and that kind of pisses her, winds her up and gets under her skin. And then she like when the meeting's over, and Boy Cavalier, who was sitting the whole time with his shoes off again, with his filthy feet, and he's picking at his feet. He's that Boy Cavalier. I can't wait till he gets ripped apart by something. So he's then like he then like thinks he's sort of won over what he's got. He can keep the creatures for another 6 months. He can breed them, do whatever he wants with them. I suppose he's a crafty little bug, that one. So he's on this one. Then we've got then Wayland Utani. She turns to Mor. I want to keep on calling him Morris. Or Morris Morrow turns to him and she's like, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "Well, I'm going to get the thing." And he says the best way to do is to cause chaos on the island, because also we're back to Never Neverland. And so he's think he's going to cause chaos on the island, which he does. Which doesn't do it yet, but I know that's what's going to happen. He's going to unleash everything on that island when he gets there. I just have this mad feeling. So we've got that going on. We've also got Wendy's brother Joe, who's getting more and more suspicious of Neverland. Basically, he's more and more suspicious of Boy Cavalier. He doesn't trust him. So he's going out to do a little bit of research on sort of things to do with this. He's sort of asking questions and like goes out with a military lot and he's like, so where are the boats? Like, how do we get off the island? And the other military soldiers like, well, look, I know what you're thinking. I'm pretty sure you're planning on trying to get off this place. Don't, because you'll ruin it for the rest of us. Because like this is a good payday for us. We're safe here. And then she does a line which is from Aliens, and I picked up on it straight away. And I was like, oh, where he says like, well, there's monsters on this island, and she's like, yeah, but I know where they are. And that was just like, oh, what's her name, Vasquez, when she's like, I just want to know one thing, where they are. So I was like, oh my god, that's almost like a Vasquez line. And I'm pretty sure that's what they were sort of like arcing back to. So the military sort of walk around, they tell him not to go trying to escape because it's going to ruin it for the rest of them. Basically, you can understand that point of view because they've got families that are trying to feed money they need. So that's quite interesting. But he's definitely sort of like, the more he's sort of talking to people, the more he's kind of like, I don't trust this place. So, and he doesn't trust him with his sister Wendy. You know, he doesn't trust that at all, and he's still trying to work that out. Talking to Wendy, Wendy's communicating more with the xenomorph, and it has grown a bit. So it's kind of looks like a baby whippet at the minute when you sort of see it in the first part of the thing. And it's communicating with her again. It's going up to her. She's like doing a little clicky things at it, and it's sort of clicking back. And then it's sort of like one point it jumps at the glass and sort of stops. So it's kind of like she is getting a relationship building with this xenomorph. And a bit later on you see it again, and it's like doubled in size. It's almost like adult xenomorph at this point when we see it the next time. And I like the showing it sort of progressing quite quick. I'd like to see it go through its like molt stages and stuff like that, but they're kind of just going straight to sort of trying to get to the adult xenomorph as quickly as possible, which is a fair enough thing. They want you to. We're all waiting for the xenomorph anyway. So we've got that happening with Wendy, and also she's obviously now bit against the company a little bit now. She's against old Boy Genius's company, Prodigy, because she's not happy with how they've treated Red-Headed thing as well. So again, more tensions are building. Have I missed anyone out before I get onto the main sort of what goes on in this episode, the sort of the fun stuff? We see a new creature, like randomly. I've not spotted this one in the whole series. So we know we've got sheep eyeball. We know we've got xenomorphs, and we know we've got that big pod plant thing with the little tentacle that sort of comes out and sort of like doesn't really do much, sort of plops around. We know we've got those. We saw another one today, and it was basically a load of moss in the corner of the room. And I was like, oh no, have we seen that one before? We possibly have, but I've never noticed it. So there's a big clump of moss in the corner of the room with a little hole in it, and I'm like, oh, that's like a built sort of cave sort of thing. So I thought that was interesting. And I was like, that's coming back later on. It does. So our Rutger Hauer lookalike from Scream 2, Synthetic, puts in a call to his science guy, the one that week before last, he kind of like gave him another name. I think he's Isaac Newton or something. It sounded like they called him, because it was Toodles, but he wanted to change his name. He's like, he rings him up and says, look, you need to make sure you're feeding the specimens, as in the aliens, watering them and making sure they're right, run the test. Now, can you go and do that for me? And he's like, yeah, I can do it. And he says, is Curly there? I mean, the girl that's kind of like wants to do more. And he's like, no, even though she was. He's like, no, because he wants to prove himself and do it by himself. So Toodles goes off to the science lab, and this is not nice. And he starts sort of like feeding the animals. So he gives the sheep with the eyeball in its head like a load of hay. And he gets like a stake for the pod plant thing with the suction thing. And he puts that in, and then you see it sort of go down. So that's what it eats. He obviously uses that appendage to go down and eat. And then he goes to give the moss thing what looks like a load of scrap metal on a plate, like really weirdly. So he goes up and he's got these like hatch doors. And he opens the hatch and the hatch won't go, and he pulls it and breaks the whole hatch door off. And he's like, oh crap. Now most people would have called like an engineer to fix the door or something, but no, he's like, I've still got to feed. He's still thinking, I've got to feed these animals. I have to do this. So he unlocks the main door. gets his little plate, goes in, puts the plate on the floor, slides it in. An old eyeball sheep is watching the whole time. This is where my whole he's a good guy, he's trying to help people, straight out the window now. So he slides in, an eyeball sheep's just watching, not moving and watching. Like that. And he slides in the thing, goes into the sort of room, puts the stuff down, and eyeball sheep, as he's about to put it all down, headbutts the glass. He jumps, falls forward, and the door slams shut behind him and automatically locks and closes. And you're like, he's trapped in there now. And I'll thought to myself, whatever's in that nest thing in the corner, that mossy nest in the corner, eats metal, because that was what was on the tray. And I'm like, he's a robot. And I was like, oh no, here we go. And then what comes out of the mossy nest looking thing are these flies, probably about this sort of size, big giant fly things. Really disgusting with big pulsy heads, right? They come out and they Jeff Goldblum, like this is obviously a tribute to Jeff Goldblum's The Fly. Well, it's not Jeff Goldblum, but he played The Fly in the film, the 80s version of the film. Because it comes out, lands on the synthetic hybrid shoulder, the poor kid, and spits acid into its face and starts melting it down, just like Jeff Goldblum does in The Fly, where he throws up on the guy and his foot sort of melts and all that. It's literally that, and it throws up on him. It starts to melt his face. He then like collapses and sort of, I guess, goes offline. And the fly starts to suck up all the like liquefied metal from this face, and it's like, oh my god, it was a real gruesome scene. Obviously it's an android, so it's not like human stuff, but it looks, because the aliens, it's like white blood in the androids, and that's all melting. You see like his jawbone, you see his eyeball and all that, and the fly just like sucking away at his stuff, and then another fly comes down and joins in with the feast, and you're like, oh, that's disgusting. And all the time, old freaky deaky sheep with the eyeball octopus sheep is just like, yeah, I did that. Which makes this even more terrifying on my run today. Oh no, the alien eyeball sheep are all coming at me. I swear, if one of them has a big bulgy eye, I am running the opposite direction. Oh no. Do any of you have an alien eyeball octopus creature living in front of you? No, you're all running away. That's good. That's good. Keep going. Keep going. So you can see when I'm doing that run from now on, I'm going to be having flashbacks to this bloody film, this bloody TV show as I'm running. So yeah, so there we go. So that's what's happening now. So then we go back a little bit more, and we've got what was my favourite, one of the simps, the Indian guy, who's in so much sort of like emotional trauma now, because he's obviously got Morrow in his head telling him he's got to do these things, and he wants to get Joel to be face hugged, because that's what Morrow wants done. He wants a xenomorph himself in a person so that he can take it away when he gets to the island and have his own pet xenomorph for Weyland-Yutani Company. So I can never remember his name, but the Indian, I feel bad calling him the Indian guy, but the Indian hybrid guy goes looking for Joel, finds Joe, says to Joel, like, oh, come with me, I want to show you stuff, like, I want to show you something, it's about Wendy sort of stuff. And a soldier comes in at the time and asks, as I talked about earlier, asks Joel to go off on this like walk with him. Joel's Wendy's brother, by the way. You probably already know that, but he asks him to go off with him. The soldier says no, because he has to come out with me, so he can't go off with you to see this thing about Wendy, makes it late or whatever. And then those two go. So obviously he's now like, crap, because obviously Morrow's told him that he's going to kill the mother. And I was like, oh, that's just, oh, that poor, the stuff going through that poor kid's head, because these are kids in the end of the day. Like, what do I do, sort of thing. So he's now trying to work out what to do. Joel gets back from the military and goes to see, because he's still worried about Wendy and stuff, goes to see the two doctors, the husband and wife doctor, and finds the husband packing his stuff up ready to get gone because he's been fired. And he basically says to him, like, is Wendy safe? Is she safe here? That's all I kind of want to know. And the doctor says, yeah, I'll show the vital signs. And he's cleverly, because he knows the camera's there, says, come and have a look. And he's got like a little text screen up on there. So he's showing them the sort of like the computer. And on the text screen, he's writing like, get her out of here, run. The boat code is, and he gives him the code for the boats. So he's like, okay. And then he goes, and I can give yourself something else. So let me show you something. I've took him to another console, types on that, like the tracker system on the road on Wendy, and he disables it so they can't track her. He says that's the only assurance I can give you, and then Joel's like, cheers, sort of thing. So then Joel goes off. As the doctor sort of pack his stuff up, an error comes up that says Toodles, the one that's been eaten by flies, tracker's offline. So he's like, crap. So he's, because this guy cares. That's part of the thing with him. He cares about the children's consciousness in these robots. And he's like, oh God, Toodles offline, I better go see what's going on. So he goes looking for him, bumps into Indian guy. And Indian guy's like, well, I couldn't get Joel to get face hugged, but this guy's going to get it. So they go into the science lab. The husband doctor goes in to try and pull out the synthetic because you can see he's all half melted and messed up. Opens the door, pulls him out, turns, and Indian guy's opened up the xenomorph egg thing, and we can see the xenomorph like watching through the window, like really like concentrating, watching it all through the window because you can see it's all about to like happen. The egg, as we know, goes opens up, and that's when the doctor looks to his sort of like left and sees the eggs open and the doors open. He's like, oh sugar. And he gets up, goes to leave the room. An Indian guy is at the door, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't hurt my family. And then the doctor's like, I've got a family. What are you doing? I've got a family. And Indian like Sith guy has to turn around. You can see him crying because he knows what he's doing is bad, but he's kind of like trying to save his mum because Mara's going to kill his mum. And you can see him like tears coming down his face, and he's like, oh, and then next thing you know, like the face hugger's there, and boom, straight onto the doctor's face, and of course he's now getting like on the floor, getting the embryo on him. Then we see what's his name go back in, Indian guy go back in, and he grabs the doctor with a face hugger on him, and he pulls him into an air vent and shuts the air vent behind him. But just as we see that the door to the metal-eating flies has been left open and one of them has got out and he's in the room. And I was like, oh my God. And then you see like the sheep staring at the whole thing again like, my plan's working brilliantly. The sheep is like now like this evil mastermind who set this whole thing up, and he's just like watching his like chaos unfold. Then we see that Rutger Hauer looking Scream 2 killer android is on the ship on the way home from seeing the Yutani lot with Boyd Cavalier, and he's watching everything unfold. He knows that the doctor has got the on his face. He knows that Indian guy's got him out there and he's taking him somewhere, and he also knows about the fly escape. He knows everything that happened in that lab basically, and he's like, he's watching it, and then Boy Cavalier goes like, is everything all right? And he's like, yeah, everything's all right. So he has an ulterior motive, and I think it's because of a conversation he had with Mero earlier, where they were talking about sort of like, well, you're part human, you're all cyborg, you're all robots, sort of thing, back and forward about how you're going to be obsolete. And I think he has a consciousness. I'm wondering if he wasn't a prototype for this conscious swap, or maybe he was an adult one that went in there. I don't know. This is me speculating again. But he's not happy, and he's actually going to help bring down, I think, Boy Genius, which is bizarre to me. It's weird that they've gone that route. So, because obviously he seemed very loyal to him. He seems very sort of like, I see, very protective of the kids as well. But he also seemed quite loyal to Boy Genius because he's part of that company. But now it's like, this guy's got his own mind. He's not just like your normal AR robot. He's not just following orders. He's got his own mind. Or has he been programmed? That's what I'm thinking. Because he was in that thing with Mero. And Mero's got some weird tech going on in him. So maybe there's something happened there. I don't know. But he's definitely sort of on side with Mero now, I suppose. Or he's got his own agenda. I don't know. But it was interesting to see him turn. So now we've got Boy Genius coming back to the island. We've got a couple of the specimens have now escaped. The flies and the xenomorph, obviously, on the face. So that's escaped. There's another egg. The door's still open to the eggs, and the egg is in there still sealed. So that means another one could potentially get got at some point. I'm guessing one of the military lot is going to get up on his face. And we know Mero's plan is to bring chaos to the island so he can get the specimens off himself by probably unleashing the rest of the specimens. So that's another plan. Or maybe he's going to use the xenomorph and the Indian guy to do that. I'm pretty sure the mum's probably already dead as well. The Indian guy's mum's dead, because the fact that Mero's doing other stuff. He's not just like keeping her captive or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure she's already dead, but we don't know. So we're also down a synthetic now, and we've got one that's had a memory wiped. But I think she's still, to me, she's still traumatized. And the fact that when Wendy mentioned this whole stuff to her about her brain being wiped, she was upset. The fact they've wiped her brain, the fact they've done that, I think, has given her more trauma, probably even more than she had before. So we might see her revert and go proper ballistic. But I'm also Boy Genius as well. I think he has a contingency plan for if something goes south on the island. He's obviously hiding more security. He's up the security because he knows the Weyland-Yutani company are going to come and try and get that stuff back. Whether it be the legal means, like the negotiation they had, or by forcefully trying to get it back. So I think we know that as well. So this episode, obviously, last episode we wasn't in Neverland now. We're now back to Neverland. Because we had that flashback episode. I love that flashback episode. And everyone's saying online it's like a mini movie and a mini Alien movie, and it kind of was. But I'm kind of like, I wish we'd gone from the last episode to this the one before that to this episode, because I'm kind of liking this story. I want to see where we're going. But I know why they sort of did that in the middle, but still pretty good. I think we're going to get the next two. I think it's 8. I want to say it's 8 episodes. They're saying. I could be wrong, but I think it's 8 episodes. And if it is, whatever happens, the last 2 episodes is going to be absolute chaos, because everything's about to kick off. We're going to find out what that bloody plant bud thing does, that growing down plant with the tentacle that comes out. I want to know what the hell that thing does, because all we've done, we just sitting there, and it's kind of like that. This is going to be proper nutty. The xenomorph who's bonding with Wendy, and if Wendy is against the company by the end of this thing, she's going to be using that thing as a backup, and we will get the buddy cop run, Wendy and the xenomorph together. It's coming. I know it is. I said it before. I'll say it again. That's what's coming. We're going to get Wendy and xenomorph doing the Batman and Robin style run to the screen. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen in this probably the next 2 episodes. So we've got that. But also, did we also notice what Wendy said when she was talking to her brother? Is Joel a brother, isn't it? Joel, talking to him, and when he says like about how the aliens tried to kill us, it's bad, and she went, this one's not bad, like it might not be bad, meaning that she's communicating, she's thinking this thing is good. So if we're going to have a good xenomorph, one, I kind of don't want a good xenomorph because I like the fact that it's unstoppable killing machine. If you make something good, it kind of dampens it down, like films like Puppet Master, for instance. These little toys were like the devil and scary, and in later movies they become like the heroes. They kind of did it recently with Megan as well. If you've seen the Megan movies, she kind of like, spoiler alert for Megan 2.0, she becomes the good guy, and she's kind of like, and Terminator did it as well. Terminator, the first one, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the big bad scary Terminator killing machine, becomes Protector in the second one. So that's kind of, are they going down that route? And I kind of don't want them to. And the Predators, they've done it with Predator, because that new Badlands trailer is exactly that. The Predator that used to be the villain of the piece, the sort of monster you have to fight, is teaming up with the girl, and it's kind of like they're the good guys of the film. So I'm like, So are they doing that with this? You know, are we going to see a possible future where we get the good xenomorph and Wendy and the Predator and the cyborg from the new Predator film, Predator Badlands? You know, she's got cut in half, and the Predator's kind of carrying around and stuff. Are we going to see a tag team match with those lot? Robot versus robot, Alien versus Predator, and mix it up a little bit. Are we going to get a mixed tag match? I don't know. It's just, my brain goes off sometimes on weird tangents. But anyway, I love this episode. I do still love this series. I know a lot of people, it's a very hit and miss series, a very polarising series. It's like, you either love it or you hate it. This is sci-fi Marmite at the minute. And I love it. I like this series. I like the different characters. I like different developments. Sometimes I think I wish it was a bit more mature. It does feel like they've toned it down to be on Disney Plus. Like, the gruesome stuff is gruesome, but it feels like it could be more. Like that fly melting face thing, it looked horrific, but I think it could have been worse. And like a few of the little, like, sometimes feel like we cut away from the violence sometimes, and we don't see it. And I think that, like when Wendy fought the alien in one of the earlier episodes, episode 2, she fights the alien, the shutter door comes down, you don't see it, you hear a lot of banging, and suddenly the alien's dead. So they are toning down the violence a bit as well. So I'm kind of a bit like, with that. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of this episode. Do you think, like me, that this next couple of episodes is going to be all out chaos and carnage, and we're up for it? Do you think, like me, like we're going to get good Xenomorph? Are we going to get a hero Xenomorph, sort of running around protecting Wendy? I personally think Wendy's going to be the one that goes bad. I mean, I think Wendy's going to be the one that says, screw this. You're all manipulating me. You're all manipulating the whole situation. We are going to come after you, and they're going to become the villains. And maybe Joel, whatever he's called, is going to be the voice of reason to try and stop her. We all know Boy Cavalier is going to get it in the end. And that sheep, the eyeball sheep, what he's going to, he's smarter than we, like, I mean, we've all said he was clever, but he's more clever now. He's getting cleverer by the minute, and he's sussing the whole thing out. He's going to come out as the more thingy villain, and we're going to get a round 2, sheep versus Xenomorph. You mark my words. Anyway, guys, again, thank you very much for watching. I know I blabble on a lot, but let me know what you think. Do you think, like I do, where this thing is going to go? Did you, like me, think the sheep eyeball thing was going to be a hero, and then you were just like, watch this episode, I was like, oh no, I've got it so wrong, you know? But guys, again, very, very much thanks for watching, and share it with people you know that like this sort of stuff. And please like the video and subscribe, because I will be doing, I've done every episode so far. I'm going to continue to do every episode until the series is over. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys again next week for another one. Bye.